You must be too big to be a pilot.
Quite tall.
The man outside says you're an ex-pilot of this plane.
Yes, yes.
So this man will have questions for
Have you
you.
actually flown this one? Or?
Yes, yes.
What's it like to sit in it after all these years?
Oh, well,
With the technology advances these days.
But it's about over 40 years since I flew one of these.
On this one, you know, when you're just about to take off and you push it up, and then you have to see, is it stable? Does the co-pilot say stable? Or is that not a newer airplane?
No, I don't know that, no. No, usually whoever's flying it, sometimes the captain, quite often in BA, the co-pilot did as many takeoffs and landings as the captain. But you've got a tightening thing on there, so you have it loose and push it forward, and when you've got the setting you want, you can tighten it so that it doesn't slip back. But usually then the co-pilot will keep his hand behind them to make sure it...
Yeah.
These are just coupled together because of the width of the cockpit.
Yeah.
There's a fuel cock.
So how long ago was it this one last flew?
Oh well, in October '96. It flew and landed here. That's the last time it flew.
Before they...
Yeah, but the runway was closed after that. And they'd already cut a road across the end of it, so when they flew it in, it was a very short runway left. But they made sure that it was lightly loaded and probably very little fuel, so it had quite a slow approach speed. And it's actually stopped in about half the available space because you've got reverse thrust on the engines. You know, the propeller blades turn the other way, so they're pushing.
What are they? Is it a turboprop?
Yes, turboprop, yeah.
Excellent. And these are, I mean, I've never...
Those rudders. The top part of the brakes.
And how do they control the flaps that come down? What are they called?
Well, the flaps are here. The ailerons which you turn, that's by turning the wheel this way, and up this way for up and down.
So when you're landing, you have those down so that you can go slower?
Yes, yes, normally, yeah.
You still have a bit
you have about half flap on the approach, and then when you've committed to landing, you put the flap all the way down.
And is that, because I mean, flying around on because I've never been in, obviously, in a cockpit, you can hear the engines kind of go changing. Is that them just controlling the descent?
Yes. What sort of plane are you talking about? I mean
just Airbus.
Yes. Well, I mean
I
mean, starting with the Trident, which is the last thing I flew, that had automatic up and down. In fact, there was 3 engines, and number 2, the middle engine, you left. It wasn't a run over, but the 1 and 3 worked with the auto throttle.
So it's all done by computer now, is it? So that's basically what's happened. It's just giving it a bit more welly when it needs it to keep the.
Yes, so it's just. I mean, usually when you're flying down a beam, so you can't vary the speed by altering. It's just a normal way to alter speed a bit. It's just if you want to slow down, ease back a bit of speed, but you have to stay on the glide path, so you control the speed by the throttles.
What does it feel like being in control of a big plane like this?
It's all right. No.
Fun. Yeah, I mean, I've obviously never experienced it, and I see it on YouTube because I watched the cockpit
we flew the Brabazon. I don't know if you knew that in '47 or so. There was a huge aeroplane.
At Filton?
Yes.
Yeah.
He said, someone said, what's it like to fly such a big plane? He said, well, I fly the front end, the rest comes along with it.
Yeah. But now, I mean, you know, I see the guys taking off the 380. That's a great big thing.
Yes.
I went off 747, and they look so cool and you know, kind of rotate up they go, boom.
Yes.
And
it's surprising. I don't think even the Trident. I mean, it takes off and it looks as if it's going really a steep angle, but it's only go 11 degrees up on this.
Yeah.
On this, for instance. I mean, like the nose would be up to about there. But it looks steep.
And of course, all these are each for
they're
each engine.
There's one column for each
Yeah.
engine. We've got revs, torque, jet pipe temperature, oil pressure, oil temperature, the rate of fuel flow and the amount of fuel used on each engine.
And the rest of it.
They're also got de-icing, there's electric supplies, fuel controls, pressurisation over there, 4 starter motors.
So what would be the speed of this?
The top speed's about 400 miles an hour. It's quite good for a big proper propeller-driven engine, yeah.
So, and what kind of range would this have?
I don't know exactly because we never did any very long trips on it, but the longest trip scheduled was to Gibraltar.
Oh, right.
And we always had enough fuel to go a long way for diversion because you couldn't divert to Spain because for political reasons. They wouldn't accept it.
And you have to wait till the traffic stop going across.
Oh, it's not that, it's just they wouldn't have it.
Yeah.
But the alternative is to go to Tangier and then they'd have to take the passengers across by boat.
Oh, right.
Or to divert to France, but that's so far away that it's hardly worthwhile. So usually, if they really couldn't get in, they usually go back to London without landing. So there's quite a bit of range there.
Because if they went to Tangier, not only is it a boat trip over, then at that time you have to wait God knows how long to get into, like they're doing at the moment, isn't it? Get into Gibraltar because of the Spanish creating.
But they made it difficult because they put danger areas in, so you couldn't come straight in because there was a danger area. They had to come in, as I believe it is at Hong Kong, but or it used to be. But you used quite a steep turn to turn onto the runway.
Yeah, friend of mine, a guy I knew once, his father was a British Airways pilot, and he's got quite a few stories about Hong Kong.
Yes,
taking off from Hong Kong and coming.
Yes, well, it must have been BIC, because we were BA, European Airways. So we only the only normal routes we had were within Europe.
Yeah.
Can I ask what them dials are going around there? You know, them ones that are these ones that are moving?
Oh, they're just stopwatches.
All right.
Which you sometimes you have to do a pattern where you have to do a minute this way and do holding pattern for instance.
Yes.
The timing it, and some letdowns you have to go out on a certain heading for so many seconds and then turn right back towards the runway.
Well, absolutely fantastic.
Do they keep the engines in running condition?
We used to. In fact, the amount of fuel used, that's the last time they ran those 2 engines. It was about 3 years ago now. Mm-hmm. But they found one of them was overheating badly and they were afraid of it catching fire. This is the only Vanguard in existence now. It would be a pity if it caught fire and got lost.
Absolutely.
But we've got a team of engineers and they keep everything working that's possible.
Mm. So all the lights and all that working.
Yes,
straight away. That's quite amazing. Mm-hmm. Really.
Yes, but of course when you start up, all these lights go out. It's like when the car your ignition light goes out. And,
well, a bit like when you take off, the passenger cabin lights go down.
Oh well, that's some other quirk. Some airlines do. I don't know. I don't see any reason for that, but there's nothing. It's not automatic, but I mean these obviously they.
No EasyJet do it because they did it.
Yes, I don't know what the idea of that is.
It doesn't affect the pilots, is it?
No, I think. I mean, if it's a question of having to get out quickly, it'd be better if the lights are on. But
what was your title when you were flying this plane?
Sorry?
What was your title?
Well, on this plane I was first officer, but from then on I was captain. First on Argosy and then 9 years on the Trident. The last 3.
And the seat here and the seat behind you, what are they seats for?
Well, we had in BA we had no navigators or engineers, or no flight engineers. So we usually just carry a third pilot who's generally, and if we're doing several legs, they swap over because they're both fully qualified. Yeah. It is possible to fly it with just 2 pilots, but that was the way we did it. Yeah. And that's just to jump the spare seat, really. Yeah. If positioning got crew positioning somewhere, and of course every 6 months we had a flying test, so we had an examiner sitting behind you there.
Was any of the cabin crew or any of the crew's family lucky enough to come along in one of those?
Well, occasionally in the past, yes. Yeah. Mm.
What's a bit of a buzz?
Yeah. Sometimes if the plane was full, I mean, usually they'd get somebody on that seat.
Yeah. Back in the old days before they locked off the cabin.
Yes, yeah.
It brings a whole new light to flying, doesn't it? Flying the cockpit.
Catalina flying boat where there was a beam.
I'll do another one. My head's stretching out.
Where these two you know, the control column down here that was linked by a control thing here with the wheels on it.
Dual control.
Yeah. Oh well, this is dual control as well, of course. But
goodness, there's a big gap down there, isn't there?
yeah, so people always ask about that. I think probably the radar scanner must have been there.
Oh yeah.
It wasn't normally visible as whole, as far as I remember.
And these are your you have big long legs and your rudders, are they?
Yeah, well, you might be able to move the seat forward a bit if you couldn't reach.
It's like a car seat, is it?
Hmm?
Like a little car seat.
Yes, yes. I think it goes up and down as well.
Goodness.
I can't remember now.
Oh, here's a little switch here.
I'm sure you can adjust it to... Yeah, there you are.
The whole aircraft.
It hadn't moved that much in 20 years.
Stone of Northern Irishman just really went through the fuselage.
Goodness, I'll not do that again. It's quite clear out the window. Didn't think it'd be that clear.
Oh yes.
Well, it's been an absolute privilege to sit and talk to you.
Yes,
Well,
it has been.
he done it.
They're actually heated.
Oh, the heated windows.
Partly for de-icing, obviously, if it gets iced
Is
up.
that the ones that
But it
they
also
use gold?
yes, it's gold between two layers of.
Hence why they cost such a
plastic.
huge amount of money.
I dare say, yes. And it also strengthens them, so it's partly a guard against bird strike.
Yeah.
But thank you anyway for letting us sit in your
Oh,
cockpit.
that's all right. That's-
Brilliant.